Hello, and welcome to an Hourglass Project, where we take time to learn how to build and sustain a real relationship with God our Father. These Bible studies are taught by Pastor Aaron at Calvary Chapel, Tri-Cities. We meet Sundays and Wednesdays. You can reach out for prayer or questions at hourglasspod@gmail.com.
And so chapter 7 begins with conflict. It begins with his brothers questioning his authority. And so before we get too far into this, I'm going to pray and we'll get started. Father, I thank you for how good you are. I thank you for how much you love these kids. I thank you in all that you do. And as we go through your word, I just thank you for your example. I thank you for your heart, that you're not just talking to your brothers, you're not just talking to your friends, you're not just talking to the people in front of you, you're talking to me. You're talking to these guys. You're talking to the people all over the world for the rest of time because you love them. I just thank you. In your name we pray. Amen. So, John chapter 7 verse 1. We're only going to read the first 9 verses. It says, "After this, Jesus traveled around Galilee. He wanted to stay out of Judea, where the Jewish leaders were plotting his death. But soon it was time for the Jewish festivals of shelters. And Jesus' brothers said to him, 'Leave here and go to Judea, where your followers can see your miracles. You can't, verse 4, you can't become famous if you hide like this. If you if you can do such wonderful things, show yourself to the world.' For even his brothers didn't believe in him. Jesus replied, 'Now is not the right time for me to go, but you can go any time. The world can't hate you, but it does hate me because I accuse it of doing evil. You can go on. I am not going to the festival because my time has not yet come.' After saying these things, Jesus remained in Galilee." And so this is one of those passages that is kind of confusing, because you're wondering, why wouldn't he want to go hang out with these people? Why wouldn't he want to go share of his power, show them what's what? But again, timing is important. So I've actually titled this study, "Beware and Be Aware." It's so important that we make sure we're doing both of these things. I have 3 questions for you today that I want you to think about this week. Are you in a dangerous place? What's around you? And are you prepared? And if the only time you're going to think about this is right now, perfect, because that's what we're talking about. Here is a passage that states there are more brothers than just James. There are other brothers in his life. We know Jesus has a sister. And so again, when you start getting wrapped up in other religions, other beliefs, one of the big ones is that Mary only had Jesus and that was it. She never had any more children. Well, this passage doesn't make sense if that's a true statement. These are his actual brothers. And so at some point, we know Joseph passes away. We know he's not ever mentioned again after Jesus' birth. But here we see him. We see a relationship, a dynamic. Again, you guys can be friendly. You guys can be nice. When you meet someone, you can be shy or awkward. But the second you get around someone you're comfortable with, the second you get around your family, your true self comes out. And my word of warning is, your true self should be always. I am way more polite to people I don't know than people I do know. Me and Ivan worked at a fundraiser yesterday for junior high, and when I'm making coffee, I need things done right away. I don't have time for questions. I don't have time to babysit or watch over you. And so Ivan would say things. I said, "Hey, not right now. Hey, figure it out. You got to do it." I know he's capable. I know he has 2 hands. I know he has 2 eyes. He could figure out if a hot drink needed to be hot or an iced drink needed to be iced. And from time to time, he would mess up, grabbing in a hot cup when it was iced or vice versa. And I told him, "You messed up. You're fired." But I still needed his help, so I hired him right back. But this is my point. I'm not that friendly with my friends. I joke, I have fun, we enjoy each other's company, but when hard stuff comes up, I'm not going to shy away from it. If Ivan has a flat tire and he's about to go and drive away, I would probably tell him. He would figure it out, but he may not. whatever's going on in your life, do you love someone enough to speak truth into them? And so he says it here. He's already had a following. He already has had multiple people want him to be in power, but he's not here to bring power to himself. He's not here to bring authority. He's here to show love and compassion, grace and mercy. And his brothers missed the point. And so going backwards just a second, the word beware is for caution, for you to be watchful. Is that something that's in your life? And again, this is the mindset to be in. I'm in danger. You can walk into a room and know if you're welcomed. You can walk into a building and know if something is wrong or right. There was one time when I was younger, I had some stomach issues and I was at the store. And I said, I got to go to the bathroom. I ran right in, did what I needed, and I walked out, and I said, something's not right. And as I'm thinking this, a girl walks in. And I had a feeling that I knew what the problem was. And I was probably in I must have been in junior high. And as I walk out of this as I'm walking out of this restroom, I see this girl. I go, I'm not in the right one. She goes, that's okay. Goodbye. I said, see you later. And I just quickly left. And I looked, and I was like, did I get it wrong? And yeah, sure enough, I walked into the girl's bathroom. But in an emergency, I didn't care. In an emergency, I needed to do something that this lady knew I wasn't there being a weirdo. She had a feeling when I was embarrassed and I looked at her, and not even in the eyes, she knew I wasn't there for any other reason other than to use the restroom. And so being cautious is important. And again, you can know when you talk to someone, when you show up to an event and it feels sketchy, it feels dangerous, all the time. Yesterday, today, whenever I am, I'm always cautious and I'm watchful. Because the last thing your parents want is for me to be careless and you guys get hurt, whether it be physical or emotionally. And so again, I pay attention to the way you guys speak to one another. I pay attention to what your actions are doing. And sometimes I let things get out of hand. And other times I put it to bed when it's not even an issue. There's a reason why I don't let you guys wrestle. This is a concrete floor. One mistake happens and you're paralyzed. You're dead. There was a story a long time ago in the year 2009. Actually, I don't remember when this happened. There was a hiker. He loved to mountain climb. That's what he did with his life. Some of you guys may mountain climb, rock climb, whatever it is. And you guys do these crazy wild things. You guys go out and you live adventurous, whether it be riding a BMX bike, whether it be dancing or baseball, whatever is going on. That's a risk. The safest thing to do is wrap yourself in pillows and stay inside where it's nice and safe. Well, what happens when a tornado comes ripping through? What happens when an earthquake hits? What happens when a plane falls on your house? Your place of safety is no longer safe. And so this hiker was by himself. One of the very basic rules in nature is take a buddy. Anytime you go anywhere, I always encourage you, take someone with you. Whether it be down the hall, whether that be to the other side of this campus, wherever we are, I try to get you guys. And when you go to camp, I always try to have groups of 3. There should always be at least 3 of you and a leader. Because again, for safety. This hiker, and the movie was 127 hours. James Franco, great job portraying it. But the premise of the movie is this guy, his name was Aaron, went into the mountains, experienced great rock climber, falls, gets trapped, and when he falls, a rock falls on his arm. Shh. I'm getting there, don't worry about it. So the point is, this guy who has way more experience than I do, who has done it for a very long time, finds himself in a bad situation. 127 hours of pain, of misery, of hope and wonder, nothing. He goes, I'm going to die here, all alone. And he gets to a point where he goes, okay, my arm is already gone. There's no saving it. I might as well cut it off. He cuts it off and he wanders back to civilization and he lives. And a lot of you, if you go through something that hard, that traumatic, you would stop everything and no longer do the thing you once loved. But some of you are foolish enough to go right back into it. And that's what sin does. There are things in your life that hurt you quite a bit, and you may feel like you can never recover from. But like this guy, he healed up. He got a fake arm, a prosthetic, and he got like a hiking tool on it, a rock climbing tool. He immediately went back to rock climbing because it was his love, it was his passion. He didn't blame nature. He didn't blame his tools. He said, I made a mistake. He took that mistake and he learned from it. And he still rock climbs. He still loves it. And there's some times where you need to get back on the horse. There are some things that you do pay for, and you have to go forward. Like the friend I was telling you about. Like me. Plenty of things in my life that I still have to pay for. And again, if I mislead you, if I show you the wrong things, if I don't present the Lord to you completely, well, I have a stricter judgment. I have to be cautious. So even though you've done things 100,000 times, you'll do them all for the rest of the time. That doesn't mean you should. So beware, be watchful. I was at this women's event yesterday doing coffee, and a guy walked in. And I was like, hey, how's it going? He goes, good. I'm thinking about going to church here. Can I take a tour? I said, sorry, man. This place is closed right now. They're doing a women's event. If you come to church tomorrow, you're totally welcome to. But our campus is technically closed. He goes, oh, okay, yeah, my bad. Sorry. And he walked away. He left. Even though there are plenty of girls around that can defend themselves, even though there are plenty of people there that could have done the same thing I did, well, I care about the women at this event who are learning, who are growing, who are fellowshipping. And I have the time to go and address this guy so they can keep doing ministry. They can keep pursuing what the Lord's called them to do. I'm there goofing off, having fun. And so even though my friend had walked over to figure out what was going on, I beat her to the punch. I said, hey, don't worry about it. I got it. And so I talked to this guy, nice guy, and I just told him what was up, and he left. Plenty of times when I'm here on campus, same with Ivan, we watch out. We look, whether we're here on campus, at the store, wherever I am, I'm ready and prepared. Because again, I know when I'm in danger. When I go into the woods and I got a jar of honey and it breaks in my hand and I hear a growl, I know I'm probably going to be in danger because that bear smells it. So when we see this, we see his brothers trying to puff him up. We see his brothers trying to bring him to a place that's not ready. And we've talked about this in Mark and in Matthew, where they couldn't cast out this demon. And they don't know why. They've already cast out demons. They've already performed miracles. They've already done the thing God's called them to do. But the disciples didn't have the power for that specific moment. And Jesus rebukes them. You guys have little faith. You guys don't believe. And in that story, the Father responds with, help my unbelief. You're right. Maybe I don't believe the way I should. Maybe I'm not doing the thing I should. So Lord, I need your help. In Matthew 24:43, this speaks of being ready. Be ready in and out of season. You guys are ready when you show up to church. You have your Bibles, you have your pins, your notepads. You come a little extra hungry because sometimes I give out food. You guys are prepared for the things again. But what happens when you're not ready? What happens when it's sudden? In Matthew 24:43 it says, understand this. If a homeowner knew exactly when a burglar was coming, he would keep watch and not permit his house to be broken into. I was watching this clip online, and this was a thing back in the day. Burglars would call people's homes, and from the outside you could hear their answering machine. And they would wait. They would call a couple of times, and if someone picked up, they knew that house had somebody in. So they'd move on to the next house. They would call the next person. And so in this clip of a show, this guy was like, man, why does someone keep calling me and hanging up? And they would let it go to answering machine and dead silent. And then all of a sudden, a few minutes later, this guy would break into their house. And it was their neighbor. And they were waiting for him. They had bats and frying pans. And this was a comedy, so it was meant to be goofy. And they go, hey, Jerome, what are you doing? He goes, man, you know I'm dyslexic. I'm at the wrong house. And again, this burglar had to think fast and lie before he got beat up. And then the end of the clip is the same thing happening. He breaks into the house again because he thinks they're gone. And the dad's sitting there. He goes, Jerome, just take the answering machine. And he takes it and leaves. And so he gets what he wants in the end. But that's what so many of us are like. I'm telling you now, I'm warning you. If your heart isn't set on the Lord, you're going to be in danger. It's insane to me. If someone told me I'm going to come in and beat one of you guys up, I wouldn't let it. I wouldn't permit it. I lock my doors. I keep things safe. I don't live in an area that is like bad, but I lock my door every single night. So I'm sure Ivan does. My friend Keyshawn, who lives like a block away from Ivan, does not. And I think he's insane. He has a child. But I was the same way. When I was younger, I'd never lock my door. I didn't care. Steal my garbage. It's worthless. But now that I'm responsible, again, I do this for you guys all the time. Before and after service, I check the doors. I make sure things are safe. I make sure chairs are not broken or dangerous. Because I care about you guys enough to be watchful. Even when you don't appreciate it. Even when you say, well, Aaron's just mean. Sure, think of me as mean. I'd rather be considered mean than let you guys get hurt. Again, God talks about this all the time, all throughout Scripture. So be aware. Don't be so foolish. And the second part, the thing that stood out to me, was be aware. So now that I'm cautious, now that I'm watchful, I got to stay awake. And I love that word. It's having knowledge or a perception of a situation or fact. I'm aware when I'm hungry. I'm aware of the events coming up. I'm spatially acknowledging today is Sunday and tomorrow is Monday and I don't want to go to school. I'm aware of all the homework that I need to do that I've been procrastinating. And so again, I understand the dangers and I know what's to come. And these are the things that if you can understand and relate to at a young age, you won't have to go through the same troubles and heartache that I did. And like I said a few weeks ago, learning by experience is often the worst way to learn. But there are some things I just want to get my hands on and figure it out. I was a barista for a long time. I know how to do it. I'm very good at it. But I've been out of the routine. I've been out of the training mentality. And so when I have to teach someone, it's a little bit harder than I remember. I don't remember all the vernacular, all the terms. And so Ivan and I were working yesterday, and I would try to tell him something, and I wasn't exactly explaining myself. I said, just give me the cup. Just set it down. Hey, just sit there and look pretty. Because it's easier for me to do it than to teach someone. But how will I do that with my children? If all I ever do is clean up after them, if all I ever do is wipe their butt, well, they're going to be in diapers for the rest of their lives. If I had to mama bird them all the time, chew up their food and spit it in their mouth, they're not going to like that when they're 10 or 12. And so again, like Tom here in this image, he's trying. He wants to be awake. He wants to be watchful. But sometimes the sleep comes, and there's plenty of times. The Garden of Gethsemane, we'll get there eventually. But again, 2 times Jesus comes to him and says, why are you guys asleep? I told you to be watching. And they said, we tried. Couldn't do it. Couldn't hang. All the time, God tells us, hey, we're here. We're about to do the thing, and we get lost and sidetracked. And so looking back in this passage, as we look at the words of his brothers who love him, who care about him, but don't really get the concept of who he actually is. And I'm a pretty nice guy. I'm pretty friendly. I'm goofy and quirky. But you'll never really see me at my worst. You'll never really see me when I'm angry. And my wife will say this all the time. She goes, oh, you're too upset. And I'll turn to her and I go, you've never seen me angry. You've seen me frustrated, but you've never seen me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry. I get green. But again, we were talking the other night, and she was like, I don't know if I've ever seen you cry. I was like, I don't. I'm a man. I don't ever cry. And part of that is a joke, but the other half is not. There are very few things that make me genuinely sad because I've had the harsh reality of life. I've watched people die. I've watched people destroy themselves. And to me, that doesn't bum me out. To me, and we were talking about somebody who went to jail. And this guy was a good guy, great family. And then he screwed up, messed up big time. And now he's in jail. And we were talking about him. And, I was like, he got what he deserved. And my wife goes, that's not nice. I go, I'm not nice? The guy literally got caught for doing something. And he's in jail. How was that my fault? Because again, you guys have this safety net, whether it be your parents, whether it be church, school, sports. We're not trying to let you fail. I'll let you get hurt. I'll let you do something dumb. But I'm not here to let you actually hurt yourself like this guy who got his arm trapped, where you have permanent damage. The Lord doesn't want you to walk into a fire and say, figure it out. Now me, if I told you, don't go in there. If I told you not to do something, I'll let you do it. This happened to my daughter last night. She was on a chair. She was going to fall. And I said, okay, she'll fall. My wife couldn't let her. She's like, no, I don't want her to get hurt. I don't want her to cry. I said, she's going to have to learn. And my wife got up and got her down. And she was upset with me. She's like, why didn't you go get your child? I said, because she's going to do it again. And sure enough, she went over back to the chair, stood on it, and climbed on it. And I spanked her butt because I told her, your mom said no. It wasn't the fact that she was going to do it, stand on it, get hurt. It was the fact that her mom gave her instruction and she broke it. But I wasn't going to tell her to get down. I was going to let her get hurt. Now we have carpet. She wasn't that high off the ground. It wasn't like I pushed her off a one-story building. But there are times where I'll give you the warning and I'll let you walk right into the danger. Because I'm not here to stop you. I'm here to tell you that I've done the dumb things that you're about to do, and they're not worth it. And so, looking at verse 4, it says, you can't become famous if you hide like this. If you can do such wonderful things, show yourself to the world, for even his brothers didn't believe in him. It's such a bummer. The thing in my research, the festival they're going to is called the Festival of Shelters. They're looking back on their wandering. They're looking back on their captivity. That's what it represents. When they were in the wilderness, setting up stick huts, they had no home because of their disobedience to the Lord. And for 1 week, every 7 years, this is what they did. They would gather together and remember when we were dumb? Remember when we were foolish? But you know what the Lord said? I have the promised land waiting for you. But for a while, you're going to wander because of your disobedience. So the festival they're celebrating, was a time of foolishness that the Lord delivers them from. The Lord's goal is not to become famous, to show off, to impress all of these guys. When I make coffee, I'm good at it. I have the confidence, I have the skill, and I can prove it. And my cousin hates my big head. And I go, I don't have a big head, I'm just that good. And so sure enough, she'll come and she put on the event yesterday. She came and she watched me make coffee, and everyone afterwards was like, oh, Aaron, you did such a good job. Oh, Aaron, you're the best. She hated it. But she also got a coffee from me, and she understood. I'm not bragging about my skills. I am good at stuff. But there are plenty of things I'm really bad at. I was talking to a mom yesterday, and she was, it was somebody's aunt, and she was like, oh, yeah, my nephew has to learn cursive in the first grade. I go, yeah, that sucks. Here at Calvary, we teach cursive. We make these kids learn skills that are useful later in life. And I told her, when I was a kid, I went to Finley Elementary, and we did cursive, and I was bad at it. And then I left that area, and I moved out to Pasco, and they didn't do handwriting skills. They focused on technology. I did computer classes. I learned how to do emails and how to write and type and things like that. I never picked up a single pen when I transferred school districts. So my handwriting now still looks like when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, because I don't have the practice behind writing, especially my cursive. My cursive looks like garbage. The only cursive I know is my name, so I can sign it and call it good. And again, some of the things I may teach you may go over your head, but at least you heard it. At least you have the opportunity to put it into practice. And so again, the Lord's brothers missed the point. Again, they want to kill him. He is not doing anything crazy or radical. He's healing people. He's feeding people. Wouldn't that be insane if your parents came to you and were like, you need to stop being nice. You need to stop cleaning up your room. You need to stop doing your homework. And you'd be like, all right, hands tied. I guess I never have to do those things. Never have to bathe. Rex is like sick.
No, not really.
So, again, remember, they already had a plot. They already wanted his destruction because they're starting to look bad. They're starting to get jealous. They're saying, why can't we do these things? And so, my point being is the enemy doesn't wait for you to be ready. This is going back to being aware and being aware. If he goes there, he's going to be attacked. He's going to be persecuted. They're going to try to end him. And so he says, I'm not going up there. Why would I? Your enemy, the world, your enemies, the people who hate you for being a Christian, the people who hate you because you have so much, the people who hate you for no reason because that's what they do, they're not going to attack you when you're the strongest. Like that passage said in Matthew. If I knew someone was going to break into my house, they wouldn't get more than a foot because I only need a foot to justify my actions. I would not leave my house and say, you know what, maybe they won't break in. Enemies attack when you're the weakest. Again, I played baseball growing up, and if the pitcher were to tell me I'm going to throw a heater right down the middle every single time, I'd be like, oh no, don't do it. It's those curveballs. It's the knuckleball. It's the sliders. It's the things that I'm not prepared for. And he's not going to tell me because he doesn't want me to hit the ball. Again, Super Bowl wrapped up. Boring game, but I'm glad they didn't win. Again, they didn't say, hey, here's our playbook, be ready, these are all the things we're going to do. Same with your enemies. But what happens if you don't have any enemies? What happens if you say, you know what, I get along with everyone. You know what, I like God, but I like the world too, and so I just try to be friendly all around. Well, this is my point. His family misses the point. They doubt him. They don't have no concept of his power or authority. They want him to brag, and he wants to save. His purpose is not to show how good he is, but how good God is. His point isn't to become the leader, but to serve. And it's a real bummer because when you're in the world, everything seems perfect. But is there a difference from when you got saved to right now? If everything is the same, if everything is perfect, if you really have no trials and tribulations, then that's the scary part. That's the thing you should be cautious about. I was reading in Genesis a while back, and I've been doing this Bible plan. I want to read the Bible twice in 1 year all the way through, and I fell behind. And so I have to do a lot more speed reading. And for me, it's a little bit of speed listening. And so I put on my audio Bible, and I'm just cruising along, listening, reading, catching up as best as I can. And I was listening to the story of Jacob and Esau. And I highly encourage you guys, if you've never read the Bible that way, do it. It is so interesting to just listen to it and just pay attention to the details like a story. Jacob and Esau is radical. Isaac favors one son, his wife favors the other, and it pits these two brothers against each other, and there's this animosity, there's this anger, there's this hatred built up because, again, it was about them and it was about the Lord. And so down the road, Jacob loves to bake. He loves to cook. He is the Susie homemaker. And Esau, he's the man. He's hairy. That's what his name means. He only kills stuff and doesn't do anything else, barely uses utensils. Well, there's a famine and there's no food. There's nothing for him to kill. He comes back to Jacob. He goes, Jacob, I'm about to die of hunger. Give me something. And Jacob likes a garden. Jacob likes to pick beans. So what does he have? A bowl of baked beans. And he goes, give me your birthright and I'll give you beans. And Esau's like, I don't care. Sure, take it. What good is it if I'm dead? And his brother Jacob tricks him because he hates him. He's loved by his father more than he is. And so I have to pay attention as a father. I don't want to favor one kid, but I do have a favorite. I'm never going to tell him which one. I'm never going to tell you guys which one's my favorite. But it's easy. It's the one who listens. My favorite kid is the one who does the things that I want. And right now it's my son, because all he does is eat, sleep, and poop. But again, I would never want to pick a favorite. And all the time, even as a teacher, kids come to me, oh, am I your favorite student? Oh, this one's definitely not your favorite student. I go, I don't have favorites. I have preferences. I have kids I definitely enjoy because they want to know the Lord. They want to grow. They want to challenge their relationship. And then I have some really hard-hearted, bitter kids who get dragged here, that don't want to be here, that make it a point. I had this one kid who would come in and he would swear during my Bible studies and do all kinds of stuff. And I pulled him aside. I said, you can't do that. I get that you're not wanting to be here, but you can't come in and make a distraction. And he said, okay. And so from that point forward, he would just come and sit. He was angry. He hated it. And I showed him respect. I said, hey, man, I get it. I'm not trying to save you. I'm not trying to teach you all about the Lord. But if this is where you're going to be, you got to be respectful. I'm not going to make you do anything you don't want to. The same goes with you guys. I'm not going to make you guys bring your Bible. You should, because this Bible is mine. This is my relationship. I mark it. I read it. I take notes. I know the pages. And so going back to Jacob and Esau, Esau gives away something that was precious and good for the sake of a simple pleasure. And we don't know how bad he actually was hungry. He could have been almost dying and a bowl of beans helped him. But then down the road, his father is dying. And Jacob tricks his father again and gets Esau's blessing. And Esau comes in and goes, whoa, what the heck, man? I don't get this. Why are you so angry with me? And Jacob runs away afraid and scared because he doesn't want to die. He flees to a place that leads him to destruction. And when he comes back to his homeland, when he comes back to his father because he's about to die, he knows his brother's on the horizon. He knows his brother is waiting for him. So what he does is he sends his cattle, he sends his servants, he sends all of his supplies before him to maybe they get killed first. Maybe that his brother will just take his stuff and be happy. You know what Esau does to Jacob after, 15, 20 years? I think it's longer than that. Because he spends 14 years getting both of his wives, which is unbiblical. And then he spends another, 15 years working for his father-in-law. I can't remember. This is why I should have reread it. But again, he's gone for a while. And again, he still assumes his brother's upset with him. What his brother does is he comes right up to him with an army and gives him a big hug and says, I've missed you, brother. I love you. Come back. Father misses you. Please see him before he passes. Esau changes. He doesn't hold any resentment. He doesn't hold on to his anger and this bitterness. And he says, please, this land is dangerous. Let me take you back home safely. And Jacob says, nah, that's okay. You go before me. We're slow. And you know what he does? He goes in the other direction because he doesn't want to face the truth. He's aware of the danger, but he's not aware of the emotional state, the emotional difference, the thing that's changed Esau's life because he hasn't been around. He doesn't want to face the truth that his brother loves him and forgives him. He puts his tail between his legs and he goes away. And it's a shame because Esau wants to restore this relationship and he doesn't get it because his brother doesn't want it. It's one of those things where I look at it and I go, I have lots of brothers, sisters, lots of friends, people I've known. I ran into a guy in the courtyard the other day and I go, how have you been? I haven't seen you in 10 years. And when I knew him, we partied together. We weren't exactly believers together. We were not completely rebellious. But if you were to seen us together at some event, you would have said I was a believer. You wouldn't have said that's the future pastor for junior high. And we both changed. We both gave up the cares of this world. And it was funny because we looked at each other, look at us now. Look at what God has done. He's taken our foolishness. He's taken our rebellion. And he hasn't put it in our face to remind us of how dumb we were. But I remember how dumb I am. I look in the mirror and I said, look at the foolish things that God has helped me through. Verse 8 says this, you go on, I'm not going to this festival because my time has not yet come After saying these things, Jesus remained in Galilee, and that was only for a little bit. His point in this passage was not saying, I'm not going to this party, I don't want to. No, he's saying, my time as in my death. My time that's coming is near, and I need to prepare for it. He actually does go to this festival a little bit later in secrecy, but we'll talk about that next week. And so he's addressing his authority to his brothers. He's not trying to be like deceptive, but he says, guys, you're missing the point. The things that I'm going to do have nothing to do with a party, nothing to do with this event. And so I ask you, are you aware of the dangers? Are you aware of what's around you? There are good people in my life that I want to keep close. There are bad people in my life that I stay away from. My father is one of them. I love my father, but he is not good to have around in my life. He only cares about himself. And now I reach out to him, I talk to him, I love him, but he has nothing to do with my family. My kids will never know who he is, really. And the last thing I have is, are you prepared? Be prepared for what's to come. Whether it be lunch, dinner, whether it be something this week, whatever comes up, be ready. And with that, I'll pray. Father, I thank you for how good you are. I thank you for how much you love these kids. I thank you in all that you do. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thanks for listening to an Hourglass Project. Good news and God bless.